Coming up on this episode of 101 Sports.
Derrick Rose gives injury advice, and we look ahead to the NFL draft.
Plus, I think there's a little sport called basketball that comes back tonight, and we have the NBA covered.
All that and so much more, and it all starts right now.
Hello and welcome to this edition of 101 Sports. I'm Ryan Ballack.
And I'm Jake Soder. The NBA kicks off tonight, and we'll see the Bulls starting five face off against the Heat starting five. But for now, here's our starting five.
Needless to say, up to this point in the World Series, the endings of each game have been a bit unpredictable. Game 3 ended in a walk-off fashion we have never seen before. The Red Sox were called for an obstruction as Allen Craig tripped over Red Sox third baseman Will Middlebrooks on the way to scoring the eventual game-winning run. Jake, my Boston fan, was this the right call?
By the book, yeah, it was the right call. It doesn't change the fact that it's still a shame that the game had to end that way.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that as a Red Sox fan. I'm saying that as a baseball fan. And I said it a couple weeks ago, and I hate to bring this up, but the Pats-Jets game. When you end a call, when you end a game on a call that the umpires make or the referees make that's controversial, it's a shame that the game has to be decided that way.
You never want to see a hard-fought game, especially the World Series, a game of this caliber, come down to a simple rule book malfunction. But this is what happened. I mean, Middlebrooks really made no effort, and Allen Craig just was not looking, tripped right over him, and that's just how the game has to be called.
And by definition, yeah, it was the right call. So you got to give the umpire credit for making the right call.
Jim Joyce avoids the controversy.
Right, another controversy about Jim Joyce. Last year, Derrick Rose couldn't escape the criticism he received for sitting the whole year out with an ACL injury. This year, it appears he's using his experience on the sidelines as a means for advice. Rose reportedly encouraged Russell Westbrook, who sustained a similar injury to the knee during the first round of the playoffs last year, to take his time with coming back. Ryan, do you think Westbrook's going to listen to Rose?
I don't know. Russell Westbrook's always struck me as an interesting character in the NBA. I mean, he's obviously gotten better and better and better as his time has gone on, but he's always been kind of a stubborn little player. I mean, he's always had the controversy with the amount of times passing the ball to Kevin Durant throughout the game. So honestly, I think this is the kind of guy who's going to rush his injury back. And just because, even though it's just a little loose stitch, this clearly is a more severe injury than we think it is. And it wouldn't surprise me if he gets injured again if he comes back too soon.
Well, I think it depends on a couple of things. First, it depends on how the Thunder's playing without him.
Absolutely.
If they're playing fine without him, then I think he stays out a little bit longer.
It's tough with Reggie Jackson.
It also, I think, depends on how Derrick Rose is playing. If he sees that Derrick Rose is playing so much better because he gave it some time sitting out, I think he'll be more inclined to take more time off. I do think he'll wait a little bit and not rush back.
Don't you think that he sees Derrick Rose and then he wants to get back out there and play because he wants to be the best point guard in the league?
He might, and he's kind of a guy that would do that. But if you see Rose playing at an elite level, maybe even better than he was before because of how long he sat out, I think it might encourage Westbrook to do so.
We'll have to see. Usually when a team wins by 52 points, the coach of the winning team is satisfied, right? Wrong. Nick Saban was furious after his team defeated Arkansas 52-0. Why, you ask? Many fans left midway through the Crimson Tide beatdown, causing Saban to become very upset with his fan base. Jake, are you with Saban, or since your team is up that big, do you feel as the right of a fan that you can leave?
I'm not with Saban on this one, and I'll tell you why. Because if you're a coach of a football team, even if you just won 52-0,
a coach being paid $5 million a year.
Yeah, that's part of it. If you're a coach that's coaching a team that just won 52-0, you still have other things to be worried about than the fans leaving the game. There are ways, like it or not, that Alabama can improve. Just comparing them to the other teams up at the top. Oregon and Florida State may have scored 70 on Arkansas that day. So if you're at Alabama, you still want to find ways every week to get better so you can compete with those other teams.
But fans really they're great to be at the game. They create the atmosphere, but they're really only meaningful in really close games. And Alabama's maybe played 3 close games in the last 5 years. So I think Saban's completely overacting and honestly just looking for a reason to get mad at his team or at somebody for something because his team has just been too good for the last 5 years.
Honestly, I just don't understand where he's coming from here because these fans are maybe some of the most passionate in all of sports.
But they're leaving at halftime. I mean, you could see how it would make you upset, but if you're up by this much, I think you just let it go.
52-0. I think we can agree on that. Des Bryant isn't a guy that's afraid to hide his emotions, and his acts of passion during the Cowboys game against the Lions on Sunday caught the attention of the nation after they caught the attention of the Fox camera crew. After the game, Des defended his actions by saying that everything he was saying was positive and it wasn't an issue at all. Ryan, knowing how talented Des Bryant really is as a teammate, as a player, as a coach, can you tolerate these antics on the sideline?
Look, the NFL came out the day after, I believe, and actually sent out the audio for what Des Bryant said. It wasn't that bad. It's just saying that him and Tony are the best in the NFL at what they do. And that is not a false statement. Des Bryant is definitely top 2 receiver in the league, by far. Give the man the damn ball, as Keyshawn Johnson would say. Don't make your best player on the team upset. Satisfy this guy.
The NFL only released a little bit of what was said.
They didn't get the end. The
They
Jason
didn't
Witten
get
thing,
the
I was
end.
interested to see what that
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because the confrontation with Jason Witten, he and Jason Witten had to be separated by DeMarcus Ware, and there was clearly a rift there. That wasn't, like it or not,
that was weird.
that was not positive. Whatever was going on there was not positive.
They were losing, though. I mean, they lost 31-30. That was a really tough moment.
And
I'm
that's
sure they'd be
fine,
upset.
but we can't, I don't think, just point to the audio of the NFL release and say that's the only reason, the only evidence there, because there were definitely points during those rants where he was being a little out of line, and I don't think you can necessarily tolerate it, even as good as he is.
What do we love here at 101 Sports? You guessed it, sports. And something amazing could possibly happen this Thursday. Keep in mind we record the show on Tuesday. So if the World Series goes to a Game 7, it will be played this Thursday at 8:07. The NFL's weekly Thursday night football game will also be taking place Thursday night. The NHL has 3 games scheduled, and the NBA season has tips off. Tonight has 2 games scheduled on TNT. That means for one night of the year, there will be a regular season or postseason game from every major sport. Jake, if this isn't the holiday season, tell me what is. This has got to be the best moment.
Well,
best
this
time of the year.
is really for sports fans. It is the most wonderful time of the year because you're right. You do have the NBA starting. The World Series is right at its peak right now at the very end. The NFL is right in the midseason. We had the trade deadline today, and the NHL starting up. It's such a great time to be a sports fan. If you're in sports media like we all are, this is the time of year that you dream of. It's just the best.
I've been excited the last 3 or 4 weeks. Just whenever we get to talk about sports, this is a great time of the year. And this year specifically has been amazing. The NBA is finally back. There's just superstars on tons of really big teams. In the midst of amazing World Series between the Red Sox and the Cardinals, FSU versus Miami, both ranked top 10, undefeated, clashing in Tallahassee this weekend. Hockey. Unbelievable. This is just, it's fantastic.
And while it is a great time of the year, I personally hope that we don't have an MLB game on Thursday night because that would have mean the Sox didn't close it out in Game 6.
But it would be more exciting for sports.
It would be so cool for sports. You're right. That's all the time we have, but coming up, I sit down with Matt Dowdle and Julian Council to break down some of the Heisman frontrunners and project their NFL draft stock. Stay tuned.